softening criticism through story writing. So here's another book, The Writer's Journey. This one got recommended to me in a writing group. And where it really came into its own is that it's talking a lot about the hero's journey, Joseph Campbell's model that he discovered in like myths all around the world. It's a universal story pattern, and it's why stories like Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter can be popular across different cultures, across different languages, because they connect somewhere deeper inside. It's a deeper pattern archetype that all humans can understand. Now, this one, it talks about, the writer's journey, and that as we're writing, we're on the hero's journey as well. And there's one part in particular in this that helped me end of 2022, beginning of 2023. So I remembered reading him talking about different archetypes, different characters that appear in a story and that appear in a writer's life. And one of them was called a threshold guardian. And so a threshold guardian is, a guardian who appears when you're reaching a threshold. So I had a teaching observation, and the report that came back, the wording at the end of it was meets minimum requirements, no. And that was the end of the report. And I started off, I was really sad. And then I thought, well, if one of my co-workers got that, I'd be angry for them. And then realised, well, I could be angry for myself. And got angry, was getting ready to send a snotty email. And then I remembered this book. And I remembered a story about the Threshold Guardian. And so he stumbled across someone who criticised his work, the writer of this. And he thought, oh, wait a minute, Threshold Guardian. And instead of kind of just pushing back against that, he stopped and thought, okay, well, what if I actually embrace some of what this critic is saying, rather than just being completely defensive about it? And that made me stop and think about this situation as well. And it helped, it was happening right before I was doing a big Japanese speech in a speech contest. So I really could do without a, noisy inner critic. It was hard enough without adding extra problems into it. But that talk, that going on stage and speaking Japanese and having it be so hard was like a threshold. And so by having this criticism come up so shortly before it, it was a sign you're about to cross a threshold. So it started off as more of a sign you're about to step into a new way of being. And then I had my re-observation, and one of my co-workers helped me. And at first, I just didn't know how I was going to be able to tick off all these things that needed ticking off. It just felt really overwhelming, and I didn't know how I was going to do it. But after I slept, I was able to see more. Oh, okay, right, okay, so I can just do that little tweak. And if I do that little tweak, oh, okay, yeah, I see how that makes my lesson a little bit clearer. And so I just, followed. It wasn't massive, that meets minimum requirements. No, sounded like I was, the world's worst disastrous teacher. It wasn't. It was like little tweaks here and there that I needed to make. And by making those tweaks, it did make my lessons better and clearer and have a clearer focus. So it it was kind of like, this threshold guardian appeared, and yeah, initially I pushed back, took it as a sign, wait a minute, I'm crossing a threshold. And then when I was able to kind of integrate, actually there was some validity to that criticism, and it helped me kind of maintain the new threshold. That was really valuable. So it's just, I just keep getting so many good things, so many unexpected good things from exploring story writing and all these archetypes and how they appear in our lives. So yeah, this is The Writer's Journey, which is a really interesting book about stories and archetypes. And yeah, I'm for life.